Hello, everybody, and welcome and happy December. I think I said that last time, maybe. Welcome to a moment of presence, and thank you all for being here now, today. And thank you to all of you that may watch in the future, watch the replays, and tune in after the fact. We are trying something new today and going live at 1, so we'll see how that feels. We'll try it out for a couple weeks and see how that goes. Would love to hear your input on that as well. Maybe give us some suggestions of times where you can tune in if you're watching the replay. So no matter where you're joining us from, me today, whether it's Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, wherever in the virtual world that you are, I'm Michelle. I'm Michelle Barone, Moksha Grace Coaching, and you are here because something drew you here. And what we do every week is just take a moment to be present, a moment to be present in our day, in our thoughts, in our emotions, and talk about whatever the topic may be. I am a professional life coach, certified life coach, and I really specialize in emotional alchemy, emotional intelligence. What that is not what they teach you in business school. Emotional intelligence about other people is one thing, right? How people are, how they act. But it's another when you turn the EI on yourself and you start looking at how you're functioning. What is your emotional intelligence about who you are and how you're feeling and where that's coming from? And that's really where I like to take people, is down that rabbit hole. Because honestly, it's the only rabbit hole that matters. All the other rabbit holes out there, the things that are going on in the world, all those are fine and wonderful. But how are we? How are we doing? And what are we bringing to the table every day, the table of our life? So we're going to dive into a fun topic today, coming undone. Is it time to come undone? What taking the trash is, what does that look like, and why is that important? And I was talking about emotional trash, really. The things that we no longer need, the things we no longer, that don't serve us anymore. So before we get started, I always like to take some deep breaths together. So today we're going to take 3 deep breaths. When you breathe in, I want you to hold it, and you're going to hold it for 3 seconds. And when you let it out, I just want you to let out a sigh, a big sigh, any kind of noise you want to make. And if you are not driving and you're somewhere safe, close your eyes. All right, so big deep breath in, hold it, and big release. Good. Let's do that one more time. Actually, 2 times. Hold it and release. One more big time. Breathe in everything that's December. Whether it's cold outside, whether there's been cookies baking, whether the tree's up or not, whether you even celebrate or not, it's December, which also means that it is the end of the year, the end of 2022. Can you believe it? Oh my God. There's a lot going on, but let's talk about what's going on in your life. So in the write-up, I talked about an experience about finding a whole, let's say, nest of dresses, outfits I used to wear in the big bad corporate world, or big good corporate world, whichever one fits you. And I saved those dresses, and it's been 4 years. And when I was going through them, there was one that had a thread that was loose and at the bottom of it. And as I often do, instead of going and getting the scissors, I just tried to, just tear it off myself. And when I did that, it started to unravel. And it made me think about how when I was in corporate, I started feeling the unravel. And I didn't know what was happening. I felt out of control. I felt lost. I didn't know who to turn to, who to trust. I was frantically looking for somebody that would give me answers. But I was looking for answers that I wanted to hear, because there were some people that did give me answers. And I didn't like the answers. Like, it's time to move on, or accept what was going on, conform. And none of that was fitting me and who I was. And so I started to unravel, just like the hem, just like the thread being pulled. My thread was being pulled and I was coming undone. I remember I would walk through the halls and I wasn't sure who knew how I was feeling, who knew what was going on, because I felt like everybody knew. And it always felt like there were eyes on me. They were watching to see how I was going to, was I going to mess up? How I was going to mess up? What coming undone was going to look like for Michelle? And almost expecting it. Was any of that real? Probably not. But for me, that's what it felt like. And there were a lot of times that I would make excuses to stay in the office because I didn't want to be seen. There was a bully, and that bully would tell me that there were a lot of people out there that did not like me. And when we're coming undone and we're hoping for someone to guide us, even I'm being nice, even the person we shouldn't listen to that doesn't have our best interest, we listen to them sometimes too. And so I started pushing everyone away because, again, I didn't know who to trust and who not to. And I spent more time in my office. There were tears. And I lost myself. On my way home from work, I would call people, try to reach out to people, anybody to have a conversation. And then it got to the point where I was so isolating myself, I didn't talk to anybody. And I would just listen to music that I thought would make me feel better. And a lot of time it was like kind of angry rock music. And then by the time I got home, what do people want to do at the end of the day when they felt nothing but tension and lost and alone all day? What do you think you want to do? You want to escape from the world. You want the emotions to stop. You want the feelings to stop. If I'm telling this story and you're resonating with any part of this, I know where you are. And the thing is that I didn't stop the unraveling. I didn't even know I was being unraveled, or it was that I was coming undone. The thing is that on the other side of that, when all was said and done, when I stood up for what I believed was right, and I still do, and I would make the same decisions. When everything was gone, when the hem was finally out and the thread was no longer holding anything together, I turned around and I didn't know who I was, because I had tried to conform to what everybody wanted me to be. And there was so much coming at me. And I'm sure you feel the same way. You got to stay in a bad situation because other people are counting on you. Or like me, I took a position that somebody else had built. There was a philosophy in place. There was a lot of hard work, blood, and tears that went into that. And I was carrying that on my shoulders, thinking it was my responsibility to save the world. And if I wasn't able to, I was letting everybody down. My path now, looking back, I protected it as much as I could. I did what I could to stand up for what I believed and what I thought others believed in. And ultimately, I think we were all let down, because I think everybody has now come to the realization that it wasn't as it seemed. And so unraveling at that time, after I got a lot of coaching about this, because I was able to reach out and have a coach, I was able to work through the feelings. Because guess what? I was walking around with a lot of anger, a lot of resentment. I would drive by the buildings and it was like I would break out in hives. I would get anxious. That's not a good way to be. That's allowing outside circumstances to control us, to control me. And my peace, take away my peace. No one has the right to take away my peace, except for probably me, but I don't want to do that anymore. So I was able to get coaching about this. And what I learned about coaching versus therapy is coaching goes, okay, where are you right now? What brought you to this part, to where you are? And now how can we take this lesson or lessons and move forward? What did we learn from what we just went through? So what were some of the things I learned? Well, how about not to care what other people think? How about what is one person's opinion or bullying behavior has a hell of a lot more to do with them than it has anything to do with me? And the people pleasing, the wanting to be accepted, you're going to be accepted and liked by the people that are aligned with you. And if they're not aligned with you and you have to work to get their attention, you have to work to get their respect, they're not your people. Let them go. Give the attention to the people that you're aligned with, that make you feel good, that want to build you up and bring the best out in you. And when you're in the middle of all of this and you feel like everything is just falling apart, that hem is being pulled and you're coming undone, it can be scary. It can be overwhelming because you don't know where you're going to end up. What does it mean? What's on the other side of coming undone? When we come undone and all of that chaos, that's when there can be rebirth. The death of something always gives birth to something new. And so in that unraveling, imagine pulling the string, and it's unraveling. And now you have this pile of thread, let's say. And now you get to decide what you're going to do with it. Some may be knotty, right? There might be some knots in there. You can clip, clip, get them away. Just throw it out. There might be some pieces that you can put together, but you can use that thread and weave it and create something new. And that goes back to what I always say about chaos, being the chaos coach. In chaos, things are born. When things are chaotic, it's right before everything is about to be put together, come together, and create. So out of chaos, everything is born. So we have to come undone. So what does that mean, Michelle? And if anyone has any questions, just put it in the comment section and I'll be happy to answer. When we come undone, we have to unlearn things that we thought were true. We have to give up those old limiting beliefs because they're not necessarily true. The same things that are true when we were kids are not true now. The same things that we believed when we were going through our education may not be the same things that are useful now. How many of us learned something in college courses, getting our bachelor's or master's or even our PhD? You doctors out there, I'm sure that there's some things that you've learned now that you didn't learn in medical school. Or maybe you learned something in medical school that no longer holds water. It just doesn't make sense. So allowing those limiting beliefs or those old beliefs, letting them go, watching them unravel, and instead of fighting, instead of trying to tie a knot to stop the unravel, just let it flow. What is going to stay, what's meant to stay is going to stay. And what's meant to go, let it go. And I know people used to say that to me, especially in those days, those dark days of mine. Just let it go, Michelle. I know that these things were said to you, but you just got to find a way to let it go. When you feel in your physical being, in your core, that something is not right, these are the warning signs that I talk about. The emotions, the triggers that we have, our responses or reactions to them, these are the warning signs that something is not right and something needs to be addressed. So by people telling me, just ignore it, not acknowledging the situation and conforming to it. And by the way, I had coaches in the corporate world. Those coaches wanted me to conform to be the best character to play the part that I had back then. They weren't coaching me to be the best me. They weren't coaching me to, if it quacks like a duck, it walks like a duck, it's a duck. I even had a therapist say, just put your armor on and you just got to take it. That didn't make sense to me. So if you feel like you're unraveling, if you feel like things are coming undone, you feel like your emotions are warning you, there's something going on. There's something seriously going on. And what's on the other side, it's not bad. It's actually good. Because if you're giving up what you don't want, what's going to come in is what you do want. But we have to make room for it. And just like cleaning out those dresses, cleaning out the tons of t-shirts we used to get for job well done, which by the way, I ended up back in the day to get my anger out, I ripped them up and I threw them up in the air, and it was just, it was so invigorating because I just let it go. When you do that, you now have space, and now you have space to welcome in what you do want. And you've also built in trust to yourself, your intuition, your guidance, who you are. And all of those emotions that were warning you, And so they're going to get stronger and they're going to get louder for next time. So it'll be easier for you to follow the path. I always tell my clients, you have everything inside of you. You have all of the answers. You know exactly what you need to do. But because there is so much of this muck and grime and other people's opinions and beliefs that we've taken on as our own, we can't see through all of it. Yesterday I was driving in my car and my daughter said, "Why don't you use the wipers and clean the windshield? It was a mess. It was so dirty." And I said, "Because I think that if I do that, the wiper, and it's just going to get dirtier." She said, "Just do it." And I did. And you know what? It took a couple sprays, but that windshield wiper became clean and I could actually see. Why be afraid of what you don't know when what you don't know is most likely going to be the really good stuff? Especially if right now you're not feeling like you're in the good stuff. So it's about coming undone, celebrating the coming undone, letting it all go, letting that hem come out, cleaning out that closet, making space, and then just opening your heart, opening yourself up to receive what is actually yours and on its way to you. It's the best thing that you can do for yourself, and it's an amazing gift to give to you. It's also an amazing gift to give to everyone that loves you and cares about you. Because I know that on the other side of the decisions that were made by me, by them, once I healed and I did some mindless planting in the backyard and just taking my husband's advice for that and just able to allow myself to breathe and find myself again enough to get myself up, I followed the path, and that path led me right here. That path led me to the clients that I get to help now because of these experiences. But if I didn't have those experiences, if I didn't get to come through it and smile and reconnect with those people that I felt aligned with me and explain what I was going through, because I don't think anybody really knew. They didn't know I was hiding in my office, basically under my desk crying. And it wasn't because of anything other than I felt myself coming undone. But sometimes, most times, that's when all the new stuff is coming at you. But you got to come undone first. So welcome it in, people. Coming undone and relearning new things. It's time to celebrate that. So make 2023 your year to pick up the pieces of what you want to keep, get rid of the old, make space in your closet for all the cool stuff that's coming your way, and be the best you in 2023. If you want to hear more about what I do, if you want to just hear more from me, you can find me on all social media, Moksha Grace Coaching. If you go over to mokshagrace.com, that's my website, you can learn more about me. There's ways that you can contact me. And if you want to talk about coming undone and create a successful path for yourself, a safe place to come undone, and then help get the guidance to put it back together in a different form, then just contact me. You can go to mokshagrace.com/coaching and we can talk. We can just talk. The first call is free. And that's all it is a call. I always say that those that ask for help are strong. Those are the strong people. The people that just try to do it alone over and over and over and over again, the DIYers of the world, they're still trying. And as Yoda says, do or don't do, but there's no trying. So remember, every day can be a good day or a bad day. It is your choice on how you respond or react. And until next week, have a good one, and I'll see you then.